What's poppin', everyone? Seasalt here. Hope everyone's been having an absolutely lucky, fantastic, and fun Edition 5 release. I know I have. We did a mass drop for our server a couple weeks back. Got some decent 85s. I've personally gotten some 1,000 wishlist 85s. So hopefully everyone's gotten a couple of goodies that they can sell, trade, or just keep for their collection or whatnot. Before we dive into it, I just want to give a quick shout out to my C-Stars. My Platinum C-Stars, Bio, Decker, Bro Moment, Nick, Rain, Shorty, Coolman, and Timo for being my Platinum C-Stars. Crane and Not for being my Golden C-Stars, as well as Antonio, Blueberry Pancake, Caleb, Isinqua, and Salted Caramel for being my Bronze C-Stars. If you guys don't know already, we're offering a premium Discord server subscription service and Seasalt's Karuta Shore. You get all exclusive badges, roles, free gems, free mass drops on a monthly basis, low print giveaways every month, your personal exclusive marketplace channel on my server, all those stuff. So if you're ever interested in supporting me, my server, and my channel, that is the best way to do so. Definitely check out my server. We're also doing a mass drop for Gojo, so March 5th, about in a week, doing a mass drop for that, as well as a mass drop at the last weekend of Edition 5. So I think that's March 12th or 11th or something like that. So 2 more mass drops for my server before the Edition 5 release goes away. So definitely check that out, join my server below, and yeah, let's just get started. So Karuta has a bunch of things coming in store in 2023. Craig recently released his State of Karuta 14, which is kind of the snapshot, journal, diary, whatever you want to call it. He releases one usually every 2 months, every quarter, but basically he gives an insight to what Karuta is doing right now, the status of Karuta, and what is coming next for the game. So I love reading these because you can get into the mind of Craig and kind of see what he's thinking about and what he's working on for Karuta, and it's just interesting because it gives you something to look forward to. So just want to share my thoughts about some of these stuff because this by far is the largest State of Karuta that he's released. So I just know there's a bunch of things that he's working on, a bunch of things in the pipeline, and a bunch of things that players like me and you should be excited for in this next Karuta release. So yeah, I just want to dive straight into this. If you guys don't know where this is at Karuta Hub announcement channel. So Craig released State of Karuta number 14. First thing he talks about is it's been 3 years since Karuta's release, which is insane to me. Three years since the game came out, and it's 3 years is a long time, and for any game to survive that long, the content is great, the economy is so healthy, and I think within the game itself, Craig is steering it in a very great way. Lots of monthly updates, lots of events, and it's always improving. Back when I started this game 2 plus years ago, there was nothing like the amount of content we have now. The amount of cards are so much less. The dojo system, the affection system, everything was all new. So I can only imagine how that's going to change in the next 3 years. And so yeah, I mean it's a long ass time, to be frank. So for a game to survive this long, I really trust that, and I'm excited for more things to come. Firstly is the monthly frames, and this is new. So if you guys don't know already, from my beginners on the channel, usually monthly rewards are not the best. It's like a background, you get some bits, other miscellaneous items like energy drinks or whatever, usually amount to a couple of tickets, 10, 15, 20 tickets. One thing that they're rolling out is an exclusive frame for each month, which is crazy. Frames usually sell for a lot of money. So if you reach the top tier for voting, then you get an exclusive frame for that month. And the theme behind 2023 is a Japanese zodiac. So think rat, ox, dragon, horse, all that, your Chinese zodiac or the Japanese zodiac or whatnot. If I'm correct, there's 12 of them, which means there's going to be one for each of the month. February, so the second animal in the race that came, I think the rat hopped on the ox's ear and hopped off to the river and won. If you guys don't know the whole story, I'm not going to explain the whole story, but basically there's a race of animals to see who can cross the finish line first, to see who's first on the calendars. I think rat's the second the second animal to cross the finish line. So I don't know how they're gonna make a rat frame, but I'm interested to see. I love the zodiac aesthetic. So yeah, I mean, make sure if you're a beginner, you guys always ask me how to make gems, how do you make tickets. Vote. Not only because of the tickets, but now that you get a frame, I can imagine these selling for a couple hundred gems. Obviously, it's not going to be a premium gem frame because a lot more people are going to have it, but there's also that exclusivity factor in the sense that frames usually go on sale in cycles and carousels, but this frame, it's not going to be on sale in the future, right? So if you, in 2025, someone wants a 2023 rat February zodiac frame, like it's only been released once, and it's an exclusivity collector value, so make sure to vote and get those. Another thing I want to mention is that they're considering adding unique bonuses to cards using monthly frames. I don't know what they mean by that. They say it affects jobs, affection, or dojo, right? So if you think about it, the only thing that affects jobs is like your worker value, so an increased worker value, but that would be too broken. Affection, maybe you get like your cooldowns lowered, your talking cooldowns lowered if you have a certain frame equipped. Dojo, maybe your recovery period is faster, but I like how they're thinking about the nuances and how to make the depth of the game a lot more interesting, besides just, okay, adding frames increases effort and visibility and visuals. Instead, they're doing monthly frames get this, maybe like an event frame gets a certain quality. I like the way they're thinking about it, and this is why like it's just interesting, because Craig puts a lot of his like ideas here, which kind of gives us kind of foresight into future balance changes or future kind of technical aspects of the game that might change. So super interesting stuff. Keep your eye out. I'm excited to see how that looks like. Next, we have our dojo updates, and to be frank, I think there was a lot of hype when it first came out. A lot of people were playing it, trying out builds, and just trying it out in general. That first month in December, and eventually in our first ranked month in January. But I think especially this month, because it's a non-ranked season or a non-ranked month, I've been seeing a lot less dojo kind of commands and just dojo activity in general. I do think though, with this announcement that they're going to release a lot more of these rewards more generously, that we will begin to see a rise in people playing dojo, and inherently it's becoming a more ingrained part of the Karuta experience, just because of one right here. It allows us to reward dojo rank players much more generously than, for example, a monthly voting rewards, because it's easy to vote monthly and get those rewards, but it takes a lot of time and grinding to get kind of that ranked season ladder grind. So I'm excited to see what those rewards are. I think he gives a couple of clues, right? Like if you finish in gold, then you get the frames for gold, silver, bronze, and iron, which is really cool. So if you finish in like diamond, you get like 5 frames. And this is another thing I want to point out. I do think that bits are going to become less valuable, just because I don't think bit frames are going to be used as much as they were previously. Back in the olden days, like even when I started playing, like when you wanted to frame a card, it was literally between a selection of 20 basic frames and maybe 40 gem frames, right? It's one of the two. Obviously, if you don't have that much currency and money, you're choosing a basic frame. But now we have so much stuff. We have hundreds of thousands of event frames in circulation. We have dojo frames. We have the monthly frames are going to be released. There's no longer a big need to use basic frames, especially because these other frames look a lot better. So sell your bits now. That's what I think. But not too sure, but that's kind of my thing, right? I think as we see as deviation from basic frames and more frames being released in different avenues and different facets, I think we can begin to see that lower down. Obviously there's more sites to use bits, but like nothing else really that important uses bits, right? So I do think that is going to make bits less expensive, so definitely sell that now. I'm going to be doing that. Another reward that we're going to get is card pulls and mystery schools, and these are big shot items. Like card pulls usually come in the event mystery boxes for Christmas, and they cost thousands of gems. I do think it's valuable now, and it's going to encourage a lot more players to play the dojo ranked system and just play dojo overall, which builds a healthier community of dojo players within Karuta. And lastly, I want to highlight this. There's a Nitro capsule that's going to be released to the best players in season 1. I don't know if that's going to be the case for every season, but free Nitro? Are you kidding me? This is some good stuff. I do think that this will encourage more players to play, and like I don't know how they're going to release this in a redeemable and tradable way, maybe like a code that they personally message or whatnot, but free Nitro for playing and being, you know, some of the, I don't know, maybe Diamond Plus get Nitro or like whatever, but this is going to be really cool. And again, there's a showdown mode and PvP mode that's going to be released. I think PvP is going to be really big, as well as showdown, which is like a deck building mode that they're going to release. So good updates for the dojo. Excited to see how that's going to kind of evolve and kind of ignite that community even more. And this ties into, I think the dojo ties really into the achievements and profile system, and it sounds like it's just going to be achievements and a profile system for Karuta. And I think the reason why they're doing it now is because now there's a big part of Karuta that needs to be highlighted. Before, obviously you have your collection, but like now that there's a rank system, there's ranking where you can quantifiably rank players within the game, it's important to have achievements, and it's important to have profiles to be verified and verify those ranks and just give people a sense of like accomplishment whenever they ranked higher. So it makes sense that they're releasing it now. Achievement system is going to launch either the last day of February or the first few days in March. They're going to add achievements to reward players for the activity in many other areas of the bot. So maybe it's like if you get 50,000 morphs, then you get an achievement. If if you like drop 100,000 times, if you vote a certain amount of times, if you die this many cards. That's what I'm thinking of achievements. I don't know if there's going to be rewards for this, but I think it's really cool just because it gives you a sense of accomplishment again for playing the game. Another thing I want to highlight is that these achievements will grant titles, which I think is going to be able to like you can equip these titles into your profiles. I'm not completely sure, but this ties into the profile system, which they say and mention to be kind of the biggest updates that they have for 2023. So Karuta profiles will aim to consolidate and visualize a wealth of information about the player, so you can add your favorite collection, your gameplay statistics or achievements, your titles from the achievement system, your favorite characters, and all that. So instead of wishlisting everyone, you can have all their stats in just one central area, and I think that's really good for the game, just because, you know, there's players that everyone in the community knows about, right? And I think having a profile will kind of cement their status and like let them share what they've been doing up to kind of like their own, I don't know, Karuta influence. But it's just interesting because I do see a lot of potential within these badges system tied to achievements, and like just being able to build that up and giving players, especially newer players, a goal to reach towards, or like other sort of benchmarks for different systems in the game. For example, like if they release a new system that they only want people who are experienced to play in, like, oh, you can only play this if you have this certain badge. I think it'd be helpful in terms of getting people more trusted in terms of middlemaning or like trading to deter scams, because obviously players that have a bigger profile with a lot of achievements are a little bit more verified and they have a lot more trust within the community. So I think this is a great part of it. One thing to highlight here is that it says the largest part of profiles is something that they can't discuss yet. It requires its own collection and it will be purely cosmetic, and they're looking for a way to involve dyes. So right now droplets are insanely cheap, right? They're insanely cheap, right? So the way you should be thinking about this in terms of, okay, how can I profit about this? You see this and it's like, okay, if they're gonna involve dyes, an entirely new part of the game will involve dyes and dyeing. Obviously droplet prices are gonna go up, right? If you have money, start investing in droplets, start buying dyes, because there's going to be a demand for dyes and droplets and whenever they release this, right? So super excited to see how that's going to play out. Frame shop rework is super interesting. I don't know how big of an impact this will have, but obviously for the economy, there's going to be less frames in the frame shop, so they're retiring frames. So I think they said they'll take frames from the carousel and special pools that haven't performed well. So I think of like your Ming vase, your Art Nouveau, all those frames that are gem frames that cost like 10 tickets. I think we might see that rebound a bit just because of the supply that's going to go down. But then again, they're going to release how these frames are being released. So I don't know if it's going to be increasing the amount of frames that are released every day or whatnot. I don't know, but super interesting stuff. Again, there's a lot of stuff that is involved with frames right now. So again, basic frames I don't think are gonna survive much longer. So very last thing is this card code change. This is super cool because I didn't really think about this. Well, I did, but like the way they're thinking about this is that 7-character card codes are about to begin appearing, and they're saying that it's going to be too difficult for people to type 7 characters, and it's not fun just typing out these long strings of text, which is true. But they're going to be releasing a way to allow players to individually reroll card codes to claim unused shorter ones. Like I think card codes that are burned in the past, I think they get freed up. I'm not sure, but that's super cool. And they're going to be allowing it to swap codes between cards. So another kind of new area of the market and economy to surge is card codes, right? So start collecting card codes that are 2 digits, 3 digits. Like I have a couple card codes that are 3 digits. So this is like back in two and a half years ago, the first, couple thousand cards. Like this is super fun. Like you can get really collectible card codes. They're also allowing vowels to appear. And so you can have card codes such as wife, otaku, a chef, waifu, stuff like that. I think that's super interesting. And it's obviously going to be in high demand. Whoever gets that card code of waifu is going to be sitting on a pile of gold. So yeah, we're going to see a lot more marketplaces coming with card codes, and how that's going to be traded, I don't know. What price that is going to be, I don't know. But card codes are an important part of a card just because of how much you type it, and like it's literally on the card frame itself. So I'm excited to see how this plays out and how we can take advantage of that to make some money here. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. There's a bunch of updates in State of Karuta 14, but that's all my thoughts here. I'm excited for the achievement system, profile system, the card code changes, and the dojo updates. So I hope you guys are too. That's pretty much it for me. Join my server below for the mass drop next week, and hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.